Okay, good morning. Welcome. Today is Tuesday. What is today? May 12th. Yep. Welcome to Trade, Commerce, and Tourism Committee. I'm Councilmember Joe Buscaino, waiting on the arrival for Chairman Tom LaBonge, who is on his way, stuck in LA traffic. And we'll get started, and he assured me he'll be here prior to the closing of today's meeting. So with that, we'll take general public comment. These are those in the audience who wish to address the committee on non-agenda items. And Michael, do we have any cards on non-agenda items?
No, we do not.
General public comment. Okay, at this point, we'll close general public comment. And if I can turn to your attention to the agenda, we will go in order and take item number 1 first.
Item number 1, Administrative and Exemption in Board of Airport Commissioners report relative to the proposed First Amendment to the contract with G&K Services Incorporated for employee uniforms at LAX and Van Nuys airports.
Good morning.
Welcome. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Bill Kreitz with the CAO's office. The CAO's office has reviewed this request for First Amendment, and because it allows the contractor to continue the weekly uniform rental and laundry services, thereby avoiding a gap in services while the department seeks other options for this type of service. For that reason, we recommend approval.
Very good.
Dave Shooter, Facilities, Maintenance, and Utilities. Be happy to answer any questions. It's important for us to look for other options in the way we're doing business now, based on the quality of uniforms that we'd like to have.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, I have no questions here. Just looking at the summary here, we will approve this item and send this to council without objection. Okay, item number 2, please.
Item number 2, Categorical Exemption and Board of Airport Commissioners report relative to the proposed lease amendment with China Airlines Limited to continue its cargo operations at LAX.
Bill Kreitz, Mr. Chairman, with the CAO's office. Our office has reviewed this First Amendment request as well. And for a number of reasons, we recommend approval, not the least of which is that it will allow the airline, China Airlines, to continue it. I'm sorry?
To continue the operations.
Yes, to continue its operations at LAX. They are a lessee in good standing with the department. It will result in approximately $6.9, nearly $7 million in additional revenue to the department over the 5-year period that's being proposed. The land is not needed for other uses by the department at this time, and there is a 60-day termination clause the department has in the contract should that be required. So for those reasons, we recommend approval.
Mark, what's the state of our cargo operations at the airport? Rather?
Cargo operations are strong,
yeah.
And part of that is because of the problems that were at the port.
Right. That's what I was getting at.
Cargo is up over the last year, a fairly strong percentage. I don't have the
still more expensive though, right? To go by air, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, air freight has always been the choice for rapid delivery options, but not. But we've seen an uptick in the volume with the people needing to get things in when containers were stalled in the port. This is the Air China lease, and Air China, of course, serves daily service to Taipei, and this is their cargo operation here, and they're maintaining the same facility, no increase in this.
When did this lease begin?
The current lease was a 5-year lease that began in 2010.
Okay.
Expired. In fact, it expired March 31st. They're on a brief holdover at this point.
Okay. Okay, knowing the importance of this, we'll approve this item without objection, send that to council. Thank you. Okay, another airport item, item number 3.
Item number 3, Administrative Exemption, Board of Airport Commissioners report and ordinance relative to the proposed use of alternate project delivery methods and the competitive sealed proposal selection process to let design build, operate, and maintain, and construction manager at risk contracts for select capital improvement projects at LAX.
Give me a description of the LAMP project.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Councilman Diego Alvarez with the planning team at LAWA. And the Landside Access Modernization Program is a very inclusive program that includes all of the modernization of the ground transportation system at LAX. It includes the automated people mover as proposed, the consolidated rent-a-car facility just off of airport grounds, 2 intermodal transportation facilities that will include the connection to Metro Rail and Metro Bus, and some passenger facilities for those that want to drive to the airport, pick up and drop off their loved ones without having to drive into the central terminal area. And it also has a series of roadway improvements from the 405 all the way into the central terminal area.
Fantastic. And this item before us,
This item is a item that would allow LAWA, as it procures the
Adopting the
contractors to build these improvements, to use alternative delivery mechanisms such as construction manager at risk, design, build, operate, and maintain type contracting vehicles that are going to be required, for instance, for the people mover. The people mover is a system that will generally be a proprietary system once we purchase it. We would likely like to enter into a maintenance agreement, an operations agreement with the systems provider, and this ordinance would allow us to enter into those types of agreements.
fantastic. Any other comments?
One other point,
Yes.
another reason that we did bring this forward is we do believe it allows us to expedite the delivery of the items that are on that attachment that
Even better.
are inclusive of landside access monitoring.
Obviously, there's a sense of urgency in moving forward on these infrastructure improvements at LAWA, so we'll approve this item without objection. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman.
Okay, item number 4.
Item number 4, Administrative Exemption and Board of Harbor Commissioners Report relative to the proposed Second Amendment with HDR Engineering for the C Street and Interstate 110 Access Ramp Improvement Project.
Yeah, there's a lot of construction activity on and off the Harbor Freeway around the port complex, having to do with transportation. We're seeing it every day. We appreciate the infrastructure improvements there and how we move the trucks in and off our regional freeways, specifically around the port. So this item, if you want to give us an update, and we're now joined by Mr. Chairman Tom LaBonge. We're on item number 4.
Continue.
Okay. Go ahead.
Good morning, council members. I'm Sue Lai, a senior transportation engineer with the Harbor Department, and this is Sal Zambrano, a harbor engineer. The Harbor Department, in partnership with Caltrans, is improving the ports and the Wilmington community traffic access to the 110 freeway at C Street by reconfiguring the C Street and I-110 freeways on and off ramps and combining 2 street intersections into one. The project is currently in construction, and HDR Engineering Incorporated is the designer of record. We are respectfully seeking approval to add 11 months and $400,000 to be used on an as-needed basis so that HDR Engineering Incorporated, as engineer of record, is on hand to provide design services during the construction of the project.
How do we get to this point as far as asking or seeking the additional dollars? Why wasn't this negotiated in the prior, once we landed the contract with them?
Sure. This additional time is, the additional time is due to a 6-month delay in the advertisement of the construction of the project. We staggered the start of construction because there's other construction activity nearby, so we didn't want to have construction all happening at once in the same area. And also, the time was used to obtain permits. The additional $400,000 is going to be used on an as-needed basis.
Right, I understand that.
And what happened is that...
I just don't want another trade pack where we're seeking hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars in overage. I just want to avoid that. And I know
Sure.
Gene Stroke, who I met with yesterday, assured me and his team that that's not going to happen.
What happened is during the design, the scope of work increased. So what happened was there was a complex design of a non-standard retaining wall, and that's a retaining wall that's holding up the current freeway, had to be widened. And instead of using a standard design, we had to go with a more complex design because we had determined that there were two walls that we had to expand out. And also, there was added a relocation of utilities that require coordination, such as there's 5 overhead power lines that are being moved underground. There's a relocation of a sewer force main, water lines, a telephone line, and a refineries line. And these all may require design services during construction.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move approval of item number 4.
Okay, I approve of good work there. Make sure Congresswoman Hahn knows about this because she's very key on that 110 improvements.
Thank you.
And Councilmember, we hear you loud and clear on the trade pack concern.
Yeah, thank you.
Make sure you send a note to Congresswoman Hahn to
We will.
say it's moving through.
Will do.
All right, want to go to 5 right now?
You want to reconsider?
Can we reconsider the first 3 items?
I reconsider them walking in the door. Okay,
You mean the first 4 items, right, Michael?
got it.
Yeah,
We got them all?
Okay.
Yes.
Unanimous. 5,
Item number 5,
all
category.
foreign trade zones. Let's put them all together.
Item 5, 6, and 8 are foreign trade zone items with the
Good.
Harbor Department.
Alvin Newman, CAO's office. So we reviewed all of the foreign trade zone agreements, and we recommend approval of each and every one of them.
Great. I think the map you guys produced. Did you see that map?
Yeah, it's really helpful.
Good thing. And I saw you the other day at the Southern California Association of Governments. I want to make sure they got a report from you on foreign trade zones because that's so important. That serves the multi-county area. Anything to add, Eric?
I just want to add, Eric Martel with the Harbor Department, that the Spectrum and National Distribution are brand new FTZ zones that we're bringing to the Port of Los Angeles.
Fantastic.
And Mr. Buscaino, maybe you could talk to the LA Times. They got a business section. You should tout that.
We should.
Foreign trade zones. So
And
take note
and
of that.
print that map.
Okay, so that's 8. And what do we got, Mr. Clerk?
Item number 7 is next.
7? Okay, thank you.
Administrative exemption and Board of Harbor Commissioners report relative to the proposed 4th amendment to the permit with Yang Ming Marine Transport Corporation granting use of approximately 186 acres at berths 121 to 131.
CAO.
Alvin Newman, CAO's office. The proposed Fourth Amendment allows revenue associated with containers loaded and unloaded from vessels controlled by Yang Ming at the adjacent terminal to apply toward the MAG, minimum annual guarantee, with Yang Ming during 2014 and future years upon approval by the Port Executive Director.
Great.
We recommend approval.
Good.
Morning, Councilman Jack Hedge, Real Estate Division of the Harbor Department. This amendment will cure an anomaly between the 2 leases that make up the West Basin Container Terminal, Yang Ming and China Shipping. They're 2 different leaseholds, but it operates as one terminal. They share on-dock rail, they share the same gate, and they actually share the same berth and crane structure as well. What was happening was, as the Yang Ming vessels were coming in, and now they've gotten so large that some of them can't effectively call on the Yang Ming side of the terminal. They were calling it the China Shipping side of the terminal, so we were getting the revenue from them within the terminal as intended, but because they didn't land in their leasehold, they weren't counting toward their MAG. So this clears that up and allows us to continue to
This
get
is
the
at West Basin, right?
West Basin, yes. So it allows us to continue to receive those vessels and that cargo at the Port of Los Angeles without creating any hardship on our customer.
Any technical questions, Mr. Buscaino?
Nope. It's good to see Yang Ming based out of Taiwan, right?
Yes.
And
China Shipping based out of mainland China.
So it's good to see the 2 countries
Work together.
work together, which is great.
It really is, yeah.
That's what Los Angeles does. I think
Right.
you deserve a trip over there to make sure you give them
They've
accommodations.
asked me to come. They've asked me to come several times. I move approval, Mr. Chair.
Okay, next item. Approved.
Item number 9, Administrative Exemption and Board of Harbor Commissioners report relative to the proposed second amendment to the permit with Catalina Channel Express Incorporated for construction of administrative and freight facilities for processing and transport.
Okay,
If I-
have a report.
Alvin Newman, CAO's office. This is the Second Amendment, and Catalina Channel Express is going to add 3 parcels of land, and they're going to do a construction of administrative offices and warehouse freights at their own expense, and to continue the transport of freight to and from Catalina Island. And we recommend approval.
Thank you, Alvin. Thanks for moving on this. Appreciate you moving on. This is exciting, Mr. Chairman, to expand the uses there at the Catalina Express, even more so now, of moving goods from the mainland to the island. It's going to be a job generator. A number of direct and indirect jobs will be brought to the San Pedro Harbor area. Just want to recognize the port for getting to yes on this. You know, we've heard prior to this administration's arrival that the port has not been business friendly on these types of projects, but to see the progress being made and the commitment to our businesses is inspiring and refreshing. I want, if I can, point of privilege, can I bring up Mr. Greg Bombard, the owner-operator of Catalina Express, and share with us, Greg, the importance of the item before us. And
the numbers, too.
yeah, absolutely. As far as how many jobs will be coming, and in fact, we're moving your central terminal call center from Long Beach to San Pedro.
We are. We have the opportunity with this building to not only do the freight operation to the island, which we won the RFP approximately a year and a half ago for operating freight to and from the island. And we've also, as you know, as part of the China shipping program, we had to get out of our large terminal that we had. There was approximately 20,000 square feet at that point. And we had our admin as well as our reservations team and quite a few other operations within that building. We moved into the what used to be the seaplane hangar building, which is about a 7,000 square foot area. We've got outside area there too, but we were able to build a great terminal, which the people love. It's, I'd say, one of the nicest terminals, at least on the West Coast, if not pretty much throughout the United States. It's turned most of the operations like us, vessel operators, ferry operators throughout the United States, love this building, love what we've been able to do. And in Southern California, we can have less interior space with having the sun work the way it does here in Southern California. So we're blessed with the way this came out. It worked out great. We look forward to doing the freight, but we also really look forward to bringing our admin back to this location. Yes. And that'll bring approximately 140 jobs.
How many construction jobs do we know?
I don't have that number in my head, but we do have a construction group that's ready to go. Right. We hope to pull permits by the end of this week.
Fantastic.
And get going.
I believe it was pretty much 80 permanent jobs, 80 permanent construction jobs during construction.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's got to be in that area. Definitely.
And I see we have a letter from the City of Avalon, Mr. Chair, that we will add to the record, offering their continued support of this item before us as it relates to some of the pending issues before the California PUC. This is great. Greg, you and your team are doing phenomenal work at the terminal, and it's kind of our northern bookend of waterfront development, and you're really setting the tone there. I really appreciate your commitment to, how we are reimagining the waterfront, and you're setting the tone. Really appreciate your work.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Question, Greg, how many people travel per year, like across from?
To and from Catalina Island, we have 4 different locations we operate from, and that's Dana Point, Long Beach, San Pedro, and then we have a holdover location in case there's another problem and we need an overflow spot at the Queen Mary. But, our largest and starting to be our biggest program is going to be here in L.A. We're looking forward to that.
How many people cross the San Pedro?
We move approximately 1,100,000 a year to and from the island, and this year seems to be on a track line for beating that record.
That's great. That's exciting.
It's an exciting place. Catalina is, right in our backyard. Right. People are really utilizing it, and luckily the people on Avalon have really done a great thing in upgrading the island and making it an exciting place for everybody.
Right.
You should be headquartered in St. Peter, Wilmington area. If you look at the history of Phineas Banning,
That's
who
exactly right.
just crossed over and did his, a huge, amazing young entrepreneur who I think you had the same vision as Mr. Banning.
Well, I think we do. I think, Mr. Banning started operations to Catalina Island in the 1800s.
Right.
And then when the Wrigley family bought out the Bannings and bought the island from them, they started their operations, and that's around 1921. So my grandfather moved to Catalina in 1919.
Wow.
And so we've been a part of the island and the heritage. I was born on the island, and we've continued this flow. We know what it needs, and we enjoy what we do, and we've got a great team at Catalina Express making this
And we
happen.
also give credit to the Santa Catalina Island Company for really putting a shine on the island itself and bringing in tourism dollars. And I think their success is dependent upon your success as well.
I think you got to remind everybody, Joe, and be the great councilman that you are, just have another stand up down there and tell people, because there's a great option some families won't know. I have a big tourist area, and I call it stay vacation. I want us to go and recruit people from Fresno to San Diego to come to Los Angeles for an experience that's unique, and I'm sure Catalina would fit into that.
Well, we're working with Greg on kind of the regional tourism and
Right.
Attracting those tourism dollars when they come to the island or come to you to get to the island. When they return, they stay
Right.
and provide those options, retail, dining, entertainment along our waterfront, and that's our ultimate.
Where'd you go to high school, Greg? Where'd you go to high school?
I went to school in Avalon.
Avalon High?
Yeah. And it's a great school. They did a great job.
Well, if you had away games, it was tough, right? You had
If we had away games, and that's something that we pride ourselves in at Catalina Express. We try to move the teams in the right way and get them to their games and back.
That's
so
good.
it's an exciting thing. I mean, to live on the island is a great thing.
Yeah.
One of the fun things we have going is one of the biggest marketing ploys we have is everybody needs to know they can ride free on their birthday.
Wow, that's good.
So it's a free ride. The city is behind it. Everybody's behind
Yeah,
it.
good. When's your birthday, Joe?
September 12th.
But you can't ride free because you're a public official.
It's my birthday, though.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, I know.
Come on, right?
I know, I'm just telling you.
I
They
know,
just
you're
told me
right.
because I asked for a
You're
ride on the railroad and they said you can't ride
Jeez.
until I'm out.
This is a great program. That we moved over 57,000 people last year that were enjoying their birthday.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. Yeah. Tell Gary Bryan on KS 101 he'd like to do that. And also, Phineas Banning, where did he come from?
Wilmington, Delaware.
Wow, and what's significant about Delaware? It's the first state to sign the Constitution.
That's right.
You got that down. All right.
right.
Make the connection.
Taking a page from Tom
This
LaBonge.
is History 101 for all of us.
Mr. LaBonge, Mr. Chair, I just want to make sure this is going to council right after this.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's going to council today.
Today, good job. Come down, Greg, because I think
Thank
we
you.
should
I'll be there.
revoice that. Take a minute and stand up, Joe, and talk about that. So this completes our committee work. Thank you all today. Have a great day, and thanks for your service to Los Angeles, both in the port and the airport.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Congratulations.